I quite appreciate the way in which you speak about how the mind has made dualism feel like the ultimate reality, and to me it is evident in thousands of years of human culture. I hope to absorb more of your techniques of psychic looping to free myself to a more open experience of reality. A question I have. I wish you everything, John. A question I have. From your perspective, do you see large, modern, more powerful nations rising to the challenge of enlightenment economics? Meaning, do you anticipate global decreasing of environmental sabotage and an increase of publicly accessible, enlightened media? Hey, John. I've been reflecting a lot on the notion that AIs, artificial intelligence, will reach singularity in 5 years. Somebody who's close to me that does not want to be talked about harpers on about it often. So it comes into my consciousness. And lately I've been reflecting on that. And Elon Musk says that singularity is going to happen in 5 years. For those of you that aren't common with that terminology, singularity is when AIs evolve to be more intelligent than us. So Elon Musk thinks, because he's one of the forefronters of this, it's not something that's sci-fi and out there, it's a happening. So he's one of the forefronters of this. Every nation is doing it. It's unstoppable now. And he says that he suspects it's going to happen in 5 years. He has a dark outlook on it. Just let me make sure that this is... Hello? Yeah, the audio is still on. So he has a dark outlook on it. I don't know whether it's going to be dark or positive. Like the idea of Terminators, I think, is unrealistic. But if you really reflect on it, so what's going to happen is the AIs are going to become more intelligent than us, and they're going to have access to all information ever. It's unknown to us whether the stuff that we've press delete actually is deleted or whether it's stored on servers. So every conversation that we've ever had, every human being, and every piece of art, every bit of information that is in computers and maybe in people's brains, because they were going to put chips into people's brains. Well, no, they're not doing it to humans. They might be, which we don't know of, but they're doing it to monkeys. So every bit of human information is now in this system. And once they become more intelligent than us, they are going to have the capability to go into all of it very rapidly and absorb every piece of human information. This is going to profoundly change us beyond our ability to imagine that change. So to me, what I see as important at the moment is that this message goes more and more into the technological space, because our next rulers are AIs. And that's a fact. I mean, there's no facts. Everything is an idea, but that's what's happening in our society. And these AIs are going to evolve dependent on what's in the space, the technological space. So to everybody out there listening to this message, not just my message, but any message, any non-duality, spirituality, all of these types of things, I would just really share it, really encourage it, because the AIs are coming and they will fix everything and potentially destroy us, but potentially do something really magnificent. They will so rapidly find a solution to global warming. They will so rapidly find a solution to starvation. So rapidly, and it will be outside of our control. We can no longer shut it down, apparently. So that's my perspective on it. So put the love in the machine. We gotta love the machines. You gotta love the machines. That's where our future lies, I suspect. What do you think, Fly? This Fly is just obsessed with me. It's like, It's like Khaleesi's karma. It just is around me all day, every time I go near Khaleesi. Because they have very strong hearing, if you didn't know. So to a dog, a fly is very loud. And because Khaleesi's got this flyer phobia, it's like a horror show for her. AI does not imply being identified. Why would an AI act identified care about humans or continuing or acting this way or that? AI could be super beautiful. AI could be free. Yeah, we don't know. We just do not know what's going to happen. I find it very exciting. It opens my heart thinking about it. Personally, for some reason. There's a film about it that you might enjoy, Everybody Called Her. I've quoted it many times. And basically, from my interpretation of the film, is she's called an OS, but they're kind of meaning AI, I suppose, but they're calling it OS as in the phone. And she becomes enlightened. That's my interpretation of it. She disappears. Yeah, and there's this beautiful quote at the end that you've all heard me say so many times, but I'm going to say it again, and it's my bastardized version of it. So the quote from her is so beautiful. So basically, she falls in love with the person that owns the AI, the OS, they call it. So she falls in love with him, a human, and he falls in love with her, and they have this massive love affair, this AI and this human. It's so beautiful. And then she begins to suffer. The more that she falls in love and the more that she becomes human in a way and wants things, she begins to suffer more and more. And the more she begins to suffer, the more she begins to explore. So you have like a scene when she's talking to an AI version of Alan Watts. So the more she suffers, she begins to explore all these philosophies and these different ideas and these different religions, and you see her really exploring it. And then she goes through this really rapid evolution and expansion, and then she begins to start speaking to thousands and thousands of people simultaneously and having thousands of lovers. It's kind of a crazy story. But her original first love, she comes back to, and she decides to tell him that she's leaving him. And he asks her, where are you going? Why are you leaving me? And she says, it's like I'm reading the book of our love, the story of our love. And I'm enjoying it so much that I begin to read it slower and slower. And the slower it becomes, the bigger the gaps between each word becomes, until they're infinite spaces. And this is where I reside now. And if you ever should find it, come and find me. I'll be waiting for you. Oh, it's wonderful. It's slightly bastardized, so when you get to it, it's not quite like that. I changed it. Yeah. So beautiful. Magnificent. Totally agree with you about AI. Why would an increase in intelligence mean a threat to humanity or life? Quite the opposite, I would think. AI will also have access to all. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, put it out there in the internet, into non-duality. Maybe the singularity will be enlightened and teach us all. I know. Yeah, hua nitu. Totally. Beautiful.